think we're good. So, what's our story from the front line today?
This one really pulled at some heartstrings. So we had a participant who called in our call center just like a normal day. Didn't really open up about her story. Most don't the first time they call. And so we explained the instructions to her, how to start the process for assistance through the Participant Engagement Center. She went about doing all of those things very quickly. She was very adamant and very excited about the process. Once she received her self-sufficiency coach and started building a relationship with that team member, a lot of her history and how she came to find TrueNorth started to come to light. So we quickly found out that she was a victim of domestic violence, and that she was just recently in a home for women who had escaped their abusers. And they had assisted her in finding the current place that she lived in. But unfortunately, her husband, the abuser, was somebody who had racked up a lot of bills through the utility companies, and those followed her instead of him. So she was responsible for paying all of those past utility bills, and she was a single mom of 3 now, living just freshly out of the shelter and finding a new place where they started her utilities for her, but gave her a deadline of when she had to have all the old utility bills paid off and in her own name, otherwise she could not stay at the location. So she was nearing that deadline and felt like she had exhausted all of her resources when somebody told her to try TrueNorth Community Services. So from step 1 to calling in our call center to going and getting a self-sufficiency coach and resource referrals, we were able to pay off both of her past due utilities for her heat and her electric, and allow her to continue to stay in the home that she had received and that her kids had become so familiar with. We also provided her with some resources in her county that would help her with rent had she become past due on rent. We also were assisting her with some local churches in her area that were going to assist her in getting her a vehicle to get back and forth to work. So we were trying to help her through the entire process as a whole, at the same time still being very compassionate toward her history and very empathetic toward what she had been through. And she was so used to living her life in crisis mode, everything was a crisis, that when she called us, when everything had calmed down, she felt out of place. She didn't know how to be not in crisis mode. But she said it was very refreshing to be able to sit back and breathe and sit down with her girls in front of the TV at night, safe, and know that their lights were not going to get shut off and they had heat the next day, and that for once she was able to provide this safety for her children.
A great example of us helping somebody out directly, and then just the amazing referral database that we have. We know everybody everywhere that can help.
Yeah, and if we don't know them, they've 9 times out of 10 heard of us, and they pick up when we call to see what they have to offer. So yes.
Great. Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.